Hello everyone and welcome to this video channel Science Class 8. Today we are going to learn chapter number 14, Chemical Effects of Electric Current. This chapter we will learn about the effects, that is chemical effects of electric current. Actually there are three types of chemical effects of electric current. The first point is chemical effect of electric current. It is mentioned here. And the second point is heating effect of electric current. And the third point is magnetic effect of electric current. So today we are going to learn Class 8 Science chapter number 14, Chemical Effects of Electric Current. Let's see. First, what it says, let's read out and try to understand. Your elders might have cautioned you against touching an electrical appliance with wet hands. But do you know why it is dangerous to touch an electrical appliance with wet hands? Yes, we are so cautioned about touching an electrical appliance with our wet hands because wet hands, it means water content is there in our hand. Then water is also one of the good conductor of electricity. You know, when we touch by our wet hand, then we may shock, electric shock may happen. We have learned earlier that the materials which allow electric current to pass through them are good conductors of electricity. On the other hand, materials which do not allow electric current to pass through them easily are poor conductors of electricity. So here in electricity, conductors and bad conductors or poor conductors, these terms are there. Conductors, we also known as good conductors. They are the materials they can easily pass through them electric current. Whereas materials which electric current cannot pass through them, they are called poor conductor or bad conductor of electricity. In class 6, we made a tester to test whether a particular material allows the electric current to pass through it or not. So in class 6, we have made a tester to test whether it is a particular material allows electric current to pass through it or not. We have already learned. And do you recall how the tester helped us in deciding that? So now let's see. We found that metals such as copper and aluminum conduct electricity, whereas materials such as rubber, plastic, and wood do not conduct electricity. So they are what we know as bad conductors of electricity. And metals like aluminum and copper, they are good conductors of electricity. However, so far, we have used our tester to test materials which we are in solid state. But what about liquids? Do liquids also conduct electricity? So let us find out. Pahle and Buzo want to remind you that one should not experiment with the electric supply from the mains or a generator or on an inverter. Use only electric cells for all the activities suggested here. So for electrical activity, we are better to use dry cells instead of using main supply line or electric inverter. So do liquids conduct electricity? Let's see. To test whether a liquid allows electric current to pass through it or not, we can use the same tester. Figure number 14.1, here is testing of a liquid allows to pass through it or not. So here is an experiment. Here, dry cell is here and its positive terminal is connected to the bulb and another terminal, negative terminal, is connected to this tester, and this one terminal is joined to this bulb, and at this time the bulb glow, and this shows this is a conductor. And for this experiment, dry cell is here, its positive terminal is connected to the bulb, and its negative terminal is one terminal is also connected to this plastic material. Then one terminal is connected to the bulb, then at this time the bulb doesn't glow. This shows that the plastic material doesn't conduct electric current. So they are bad conductor or poor conductor of electricity. So in the next page, let's see. However, replace the cell via battery. Also, before using the tester, we should check whether it is working or not. So here, activity 14.1, join the free ends of the tester together for a moment, and this completes the circuit of the tester and the bulb should glow. And however, if the bulb doesn't glow, it means that the tester is not working. Can you think of the possible reasons? Is it possible that the connections are loose, or the bulb is fused, or your cells are used up? Check that all the connections are tight. If they are, then replace the bulb with another bulb. Now test if the tester is working or not. So if it is still not working, then replace the cells with fresh cells. So here we have to check whether the connection is loose or tight, and if it is loose, then the current cannot flow and then the bulb cannot glow. So now that our tester is working, let us use it to test the various liquids. So caution: while checking your tester, do not join its free ends for more than a few seconds, otherwise the cells of the battery will drain very quickly. So we have to take caution while checking your tester. We should not join its free ends for more than some few seconds, then the battery will be drained very quickly. So activity 14.2, let's see. Collect a few small plastic or rubber caps of discarded bottles and clean them. Pour 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or vinegar in 1 cap. Bring your tester over this cap and let the ends of the tester drip into lemon juice or vinegar. As shown in figure 14.2, take care that the ends are not more than 1 centimeter apart, but at the same time, do not touch each other. Does the bulb of the tester glow? Does lemon juice or vinegar conduct electricity? How would you classify lemon juice or vinegar, a good conductor or a poor conductor? So this is just an activity. We have to collect few small plastic or rubber caps of discarded bottles and clean them, and pour 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or vinegar in 1 cap, and bring your tester over this cap and let the ends of the tester dip into the lemon juice. So here the circuit is also shown here. Here is the switch, this is the bulb, this is the connecting wire, and this is the lemon juice. Testing conduction of electricity in lemon juice or vinegar. So when the liquid between the two ends of the tester allows the electric current to pass, the circuit of the tester becomes complete. The current flows in the circuit and the bulb glows. When the liquid doesn't allow the electric current to pass, the circuit of the tester is not complete and the bulb doesn't glow. So in some situation, even though the liquid is conducting, the bulb may not glow, and it may have happened in activity 14.2. What can be the reason? So here, do you remember why the bulb glows when the electric current passes through it? So due to the heating effect of the current, the filament of the bulb gets heated to a high temperature and it starts glowing. However, if the current through a circuit is too weak, the filament does not get heated sufficiently and it doesn't glow. And why is the current in the circuit weak? Well, Though a material may conduct electricity, it may not conduct it as easily as a metal. As a result, the circuit of the tester may be complete, and yet the current through it may be too weak to make the bulb glow. So can we make another tester which can detect a weak current? So now we can use another effect of an electric current to make another kind of tester. And do you recall that electric current produces a magnetic effect? What happens to a compass needle kept nearby when current flows in a wire? Even if the current is small, the deflection of the magnetic needle can be seen. Can we make a tester using the magnetic effect of current? Let us find out in activity 14.3. Let's see. You may use an LED figure 14.3 in place of the electric bulb. In the tester of figure 14.2, LED glows even when a weak electric current flows through it. There are two wires called leads attached to an LED. So one lead is slightly longer than the other. And remember that while connecting to a circuit, the longer lead is always connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and the shorter lead is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So here leads LED light emitting diode, we also known as light emitting diodes, LEDs. It is also shown here. Activity 14.3. Take the tray from inside a discarded matchbox. Wrap an electric wire a few times around the tray. Place a small compass needle inside it. Now connect one free end of the wire to the terminal of a battery and leave the other end free. Take another piece of wire and connect it to the other terminal of the battery. Figure number 14.4. Here another tester is shown here. This is the connecting circuit and this is the switch. And join the free ends of the two wires. We have to join the free ends of the wire. The compass needle should show deflection when we touch this free end, and when we switch on this, and at this time the compass needle will show deflection. And your tester with two free ends of the wire is ready. So now repeat activity 14.2 using this tester. And do you find a deflection in the compass needle the moment you dip the free ends of the tester in lemon juice? So take out the ends of the tester from the lemon juice, dip them in water and then wipe them dry. And repeat the activity with other liquids such as tap water, vegetable oil, milk, honey. Remember to wash and wipe dry the ends of tester after testing each liquid. In each case, observe whether the magnetic needle shows deflection or not. Record your observation in table 14.1. So here table 14.1 is shown here. Good or poor conducting liquids. Cell number 1 to cell number 10 are given material lemon juice. Compass needle shows deflection yes or no, and good conductor or poor conductor. Here lemon juice, compass needle will shows deflection yes, electric current will flow, and it is one of the good conductor. And vinegar, it also we will understand when testing. And here tap water also given, then it is we can say yes and good conductor, or poor conductor, it is good conductor. Vegetable oil, it is also yes and it is good conductor. Milk Yes, it is good conductor. And honey, yes, it is also yes, good conductor. So we can test so many other things. From table 14.1, we find that some liquids are good conductors of electricity and some are poor conductors. So when the free ends of the tester do not touch each other, there is an air gap between them. And Pehle knows that air is a poor conductor of electricity, but she has also read that during lightning an electric current passes through air. She wonders if air is indeed a poor conductor under all conditions. This makes Buzo ask whether other materials classified as poor conductors also allow electricity to pass under certain conditions. Actually, under certain conditions, most materials can conduct. That is why it is preferable to classify materials as good conductors and poor conductors instead of classifying as conductors and insulators. We have tested the conduction of electricity through tap water. Let us now test the conduction of electricity through distilled water. So activity 14.4, take about 2 teaspoonfuls of distilled water in a clean and dry plastic or rubber cap of a bottle. You may obtain distilled water from your school science lab. You may also get distilled water from a medical store or a doctor or a nurse. Use the tester to test whether distilled water conducts electricity or not. What do you find? Does distilled water conduct electricity? Now, dissolve a pinch of common salt in distilled water. Again, test. What do you conclude this time? Actually, the distilled water doesn't conduct electricity. But after adding some common salt is sodium chloride. When we add some common salt, and after that when we test, then electric current can flow. So when salt is dissolved in distilled water, we obtain salt solution. So this is a conductor of electricity. Here it is also mentioned. Then the water that we get from sources such as taps, hand pumps, wells, and ponds is not pure. It may contain several salts dissolved in it. Small amounts of mineral salts are necessarily present in it. This water is thus a good conductor of electricity. On the other hand, distilled water is free of salts and is a poor conductor. So distilled water is free of any minerals. So it doesn't contain any salts. That is why it doesn't conduct electricity. Small amounts of mineral salts present necessarily in water are beneficial for human health. However, these salts make water a good conductor. So, we should never handle electrical appliances with wet hands or while standing on a wet floor. So, because in the water it is composed of salts, so electric current can flow through it. So we should not touch electrical appliance with wet hands. We have found that common salt, when dissolved in distilled water, makes it a good conductor. Then what are the other substances which, when dissolved in distilled water, make it conducting? Let us find out. Let's see. Caution. Do the next activity under the supervision of your teacher or parent or some elderly person, because the use of acid is involved in it. So next activity, let's see, activity 14.5, we have to do with the teacher or with your parent or any elder person, because we have to use acid. Activity 14.5, let's see, take 3 clean plastic or rubber caps or bottles, Pour about 2 teaspoonfuls of distilled water in each of them. Add a few drops of lemon juice or dilute hydrochloric acid to distilled water in 1 cup. Now in the second cup containing distilled water, add a few drops of a base such as caustic soda or potassium iodide. In the third, add a little sugar to the distilled water in the third cup and dissolve it. And test which solution conduct electricity and which do not. What results do you obtain? So here we have to take 3 clean plastic or rubber caps of butter and 2 teaspoonfuls of distilled water in each of them. We have to pour and add a few drops of lemon juice or dilute hydrochloric acid. We can use lemon juice or dilute hydrochloric acid to distilled water in 1 cup. And now in the second cup containing distilled water, add a few drops of base such as caustic soda or potassium iodide. So add a little sugar to the distilled water in the third cup and dissolve it and test which solution conduct electricity and which do not. What results do you obtain? So in this case we can see most liquids that conduct electricity are solutions of acids, bases and salts. So when an electric current flows through a conducting solution, does it produce an effect on the solution? Let's see chemical effects of electric current. Let's see. In class 7 we have learned some effects of electric current. Can you list these effects? What effect does the current produce when it flows through a conducting solution? Let us find out. Activity 14.6. Take out carbon rods carefully from 2 discarded shells. Clean their metal caps with sandpaper. Wrap copper wires around the metal caps of the carbon rods and join them to a battery. Figure 14.5. We call these 2 rods electrodes. So here activity 14.7, 2 electrodes, 2 carbon electrodes here used. A metal cap is here, carbon rod are used. This is the water and this is the connecting wire. Here is the switch. Passing current through water. Next page, let's see. Here carbon rods, you may take 2 iron nails about 6 centimeters long. 2 iron nails. Carbon rods we can use 2 iron nails about 6 centimeters long. Pour a cupful of water in a glass or plastic bowl. Add a teaspoonful of salt or a few drops of lemon juice to water to make it more conducting. Now immerse the electrodes in this solution. Make sure that the metal caps of the carbon rods are outside the water. Wait for 3 to 4 minutes. Observe the electrodes carefully. Do you notice any gas bubbles near the electrodes? Can we recall the scenes taking place in the solution of chemical scenes? Recall the definition of a chemical scenes that you learned in class 7. So, chemical scenes, we are studying about the chemical scenes. So, now let's continue in 1800. A British chemist, William Nicholson, born in 1753 and expired in 1815, had shown that if electrodes were immersed in water and a current was passed, bubbles of oxygen and hydrogen were produced. Oxygen bubbles form on the electrode connected to the positive terminal of the battery and hydrogen bubbles form on the other electrode. So this experiment, so British chemist William Nicholson had shown the passage of an electric current through a conducting solution causes chemical reactions. So, the passage of an electric current through a conducting solution causes chemical reactions. As a result, bubbles of a gas may be formed on the electrodes. Deposits of metal may be seen on electrodes. Changes of color of solutions may occur. The reaction would depend on what solution and electrodes are used. These are some of the chemical effects of the electric current. And here again, Buzo decided to test whether some fruits and vegetables also conduct electricity or not. He cut a potato into two halves and inserted the copper wires of a tester into it. Just then his mother called him and he forgot to take out the wires of the tester inserted into the potato. When he came back after half an hour, he noticed that there was a greenish blue spot on the potato around one wire, whereas there was no such spot around the other wire. Figure number 14.6. Testing potato. It is also shown here, testing potato. So here, he was surprised with this observation and along with Pehle, repeated this activity many times. They found that it was always the wire connected to the positive terminal which had a greenish blue spot around it. They felt that this discovery was very useful because it could be used for identifying the positive terminal of a cell or a battery. Concealed in a box, they decided to report their finding to a children's magazine. And remember that Buzo set out to test whether potato conducted electricity or not. So, what he found was that current produced a chemical effect in the potato. So to him, this was very exciting. In fact, this is how science sometimes works. You are looking for something and you discover something else. Many important discoveries have been made in this manner. Electroplating. Let's see what is electroplating. Electroplating, let's see. You know that a brand new bicycle has shiny handlebar and wheel rims. However, if these are accidentally scratched, the shiny coating comes off, revealing a not so shiny surface beneath. You might have also seen women using ornaments which appear to be made of gold. However, with repeated use, the gold coating wears off, revealing silver or some other metal beneath. So, this is what electroplating is. One of the process that any metal can be used, and its covering, its outside covering can be cover another shining material coherently. So that term is called electroplating. So in both these cases, a metal has a coating of another metal. A metal will be coating on another metal. And do you wonder how a layer of one metal can be deposited on top of another? So, well, let us try doing it ourselves. So, coating of one metal on another metal, that term is called electroplating. So, activity 14.7, let's see. We will need copper sulfate and 2 copper plates of size around 10 centimeter into 4 centimeter, and take 250 ml of distilled water in a clean and dry beaker. Dissolve 2 teaspoonfuls of copper sulfate in it. Add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid to copper sulfate solution to make it more conducting. Clean copper plates with sandpaper, and now rinse them with water and dry them. Connect the copper plates to the terminals of a battery and immerse them in copper sulfate solution. So here it is shown in this figure. We need copper sulfate and 2 copper plates of size around 10 centimeter into 4 centimeter, and we have to take 250 ml of distilled water in a clean and dry beaker, and we have to dissolve 2 teaspoonfuls of copper sulfate in it, and after that a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid we have to add to copper sulfate to make it more conducting. Then here a simple circuit showing electroplating. This is the copper plate, this is copper plate, and copper sulfate solution is here, and here is the connecting wire, here is the switch. So allow the current to pass for about 15 minutes. Now remove the electrodes from the solution and look at them carefully. We have to pass electric current through this solution and for 15 minutes, and we have to remove these electrodes. Then, do you find any difference in any one of them? Do you find a coating over it? Coating above it. And what color is the coating? Note down the terminal of the battery with which this electrode is connected. So terminal of the battery we have to note down what color is it, the coating. So if we have to observe the terminal of the battery in the dry cell, positive terminal and negative terminal is there. So the current flows from the positive terminal to negative terminal. And on the other hand, the electron flows in opposite of it. That means from negative to positive. After doing the electroplating activity, पहले interchange the electrodes and repeated the activity. What do you think she would observe this time? So after doing the electroplating activity, पहले interchange the 2 electrodes. When the 2 electrodes interchange, then deposition of in the outer covering will get to another plate. So when electric current is passed through the copper sulfate solution, copper sulfate dissociates into copper and sulfate. The free copper gets drawn to the electrode connected to the negative terminal of the battery and gets deposited on it. But what about the loss of copper from this solution? So from the other electrode, a copper plate and equal amount of copper gets dissolved in the solution. So thus the loss of copper from the solution is restored and the process continues. So this means that copper gets transferred from one electrode to the other. So Buzo could get only one copper plate. So he performed activity 14.7 by connecting a carbon rod in place of the copper plate, which was connected to the negative terminal of the battery. He succeeded in obtaining a coating of copper on carbon rod. The process of depositing a layer of any desired metal on another material by means of electricity is called electroplating. Here is the definition of electroplating. So it is one of the most common applications of chemical effects of electric current. So chemical effect of electric current, electroplating is also one of the most common application. Electroplating is a very useful process. It is widely used in industry for coating metal objects with a thin layer of a different metal. So in figure number 14.8, we see the layer of metal deposited has some desired property which the metal of the object lacks. For example, chromium plating is done on many objects such as car parts, bath taps, kitchen gas burners, bicycle handlebars, wheel rims, and many others. So here we learn the chromium plating. It is done on many objects as car parts, bath taps, kitchen gas burner, bicycle handlebars, wheel rims, and many others. It is done. Next, chromium has a shiny appearance and it does not corrode. It resists scratch. However, chromium is expensive and it may not be economical to make the whole object out of chromium. So the object is made from a cheaper metal and only a coating of chromium over it is deposited. Jewelry makers electroplate silver and gold on less expensive metals. So these ornaments have the appearance of silver or gold but are much less expensive. So here figure number 14.8, some electroplated objects we have seen here, handle of the cycle and say some other also rim of the motorcycle and some other things are shown in this figure. Tin cans used for storing food are made by electroplating tin onto iron. So tin is less reactive than iron. Thus, food does not come into contact with iron and is protected from getting spoiled. Iron is used in bridges and automobiles to provide strength. However, iron tends to corrode and rust, so a coating of zinc is deposited on iron, so to protect it from corrosion and formation of rust. So this is one of the process of electroplating. So iron is one of the highly corrosive and rust also can form. So on iron, zinc is deposited on iron to protect it from corrosion and formation of rust. In the electroplating factories, the disposal of the used conducting solution is a major concern, and it is a polluting waste, and there are specific disposal guidelines to protect the environment. So to protect the environment, there are specific disposal guidelines also there. So in the electroplating factories, disposal of the used conducting solution is a major concern. So its disposal has guidelines to protect our environment. So with that, it ends this chapter. In the next video class, we will study a new chapter. So for today, let's stop here. Bye.